I've never been to Compton. I've never worked with the Community Redevelopment Association and agency side of Compton before. But what I'm starting to see across the state is redevelopment agencies understand that they need friends. I don't know how many of you have been following the news. Can you hear me in the back? I saw you raise your hands. Okay. I said what I'm starting to understand across the state is that redevelopment agencies are starting to understand that they need friends politically. In this sort of arena, make sure that your friendship has a proper price. Don't just give it away.
Yes.
Okay. Sorry. But that's just how life works. Now, I think what you said about raising your voice, organizing, why I say they need friends. The clawback, does that mean anything to people? Okay. We have a budget deficit in this state. Everyone might have heard about that. Earlier in the year, the state assembly decided they wanted to take a couple $1 billion in tax increment from the redevelopment agencies, from the local redevelopment agencies to help close the deficit. The California Redevelopment Agency went to court and said, no, you can't do that. That's unconstitutional. And the state Supreme Court said, you're right, it is unconstitutional. Sorry, the governor wanted to do that. The state assembly said, we didn't realize that. We'll change the law. So the assembly and the Senate changed the law over this summer. And then they took $2 billion from the redevelopment agencies. Okay? And a great frustration in the California Redevelopment Association, which is the statewide membership organization right now, is what do we do about that? Why don't people understand all the good work we're doing? I think part of the reason why people don't understand is that there aren't the strong enough relationships and working organizations in enough redevelopment agencies across the state to be able to build a political movement to say, hold on, this money is important to us at the local level because we are depending on it. And I think that's a two-way street, okay? That's local redevelopment and then people such as yourselves who have visions that potentially redevelopment can assist, coming down, maybe knocking heads, having the hard conversations at the local level and working out some sort of local agreement about what it's going to look like. Because if you had that at the local level, I don't think you would have the political consensus to do what's happening right now. And I think that's actually created an opening for people at the local level to start to approach redevelopment agencies and say, hey, we understand you're hurting. Very sorry. Let's start to figure a way to repair your image. That's my take on that.
Okay, we are running pretty short on time. How many people have questions still? Okay, Louis. So Louis is going to be our last question for today. And I do want to say that Kofi is actually going to be on a station on the tour. So you can keep grilling him, right, looking at the Gateway Town Center. And the rest of our speakers, and John is as well, actually, if you have questions about habitat, he can come and show you what he's been talking about. And hopefully our other two are going to travel on the tour and be available to answer questions as well. Are you staying for the tour?
About a 5 o'clock flight.
Then you're probably not. Okay, sorry. Go ahead.
John, Prince of Los Angeles River just did the first ever study of fish and fishing in the Los Angeles River. And one of the things that we learned, and it was all done in the area just north of downtown Los Angeles, the Glendale Narrows, the natural bottom stretch of the Los Angeles River that has been, thanks to the county supervisor, Xavier Oslovsky, has not been destroyed by flood control districts. What we discovered in this study, we did lab analysis of thousands of fish. So they're all bottom feeders: carp, tilapia, sunfish, catfish. But they're all thriving in the LA River, in the Los Angeles River, in this particular area. And we've only studied this particular area. But what I was curious, but it seems to me that there's no reason that Compton Creek couldn't have at least as healthy an ecology as that section of the Los Angeles River. So the question is, when we studied all these fish and had them all analyzed in labs, and we had probably 1,000 fish analyzed in samples, and They are free, basically, of PCBs. They're free of mercury, and those are the only two things we were testing for. But we don't know why. We don't know if there was like a biological reason because of the kinds of natural plants life that have been reestablished because this is a natural bottom section of the Los Angeles River. I'm wondering, A, if you've really ever thought through those kinds of issues about what are the plants that it takes to make a healthy riverine ecology, and B, how you would proceed on Compton Creek.
Absolutely, and I used kind of a cynical throwaway when I said you just leach the metals out and flood them downstream, because that's what everything's always done. One of the great things about riparian vegetation is it will trap all of that. And we have actually been doing some research at Dominguez Hills on using native species for soil remediation. And we found that a couple of different species of willow, and also one of my favorite plants, the mulefat, is very, very efficient at surviving in, for example, high copper environments. What I was hoping was that the mulefat was actually taking the copper up and storing it in the leaves. It appears that it's not. It's blocking it at the roots. It's taking it into the roots, and then it's being blocked there from uptake. So the mulefat do very well. And they're more of an upland plant. For those who aren't familiar with mulefat, it's more of an upland plant rather than a riparian plant. But it would do very well. I mean, it's a native to this area. It's a wonderful tree. And they survive in high copper environments. They're taking the copper up into their roots and then sequestering it there in the roots. I was hoping they would take it up into the leaves so you could then just harvest the above ground, and it grows back from the ground very quickly. And what you look for in an ideal bioremediation species is something that you can harvest the above ground and put it in big plastic bags and take it to a toxic landfill, and then it just keeps drawing the nasty stuff out of the soil. Mulefat doesn't seem to be doing that, but there's a lot of other trees we haven't looked at yet. Willows, it seems, may well be taking some of that up and storing it in the leaves, which is a much more attractive proposition. But absolutely, riparian vegetation is very, very good at blocking nasty stuff from getting into the streams. That may well be what's happening in the Glendale Narrows. I'm encouraged. I haven't seen those results. I'm very encouraged to hear that.
Yeah, well, I'll get you to say Sabrina was one of the two key in Swift.